Okay, today we're going to go over the basic features and the latest features in our current update to our Trig-Man product. This is Trig-Man 2018. Trig-Man has a lot of stuff in it, a lot of individual tools and features and functions. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife full of tools. We're going to break them into a couple of categories. We're going to start off with just dealing with NC code or code that you would use in your CNC machine. Let's go over some of the things that it does. First of all, it's basically an editor. You can load files into it. You can type up your NC files with it. You can type them in. You can edit multiple files at the same time. A couple of the let me start on a blank window here. Couple of the nice features for this are the NC code macros, which that allows you to take and for each specific machine that you use, set up a series of macros. And these names are just chosen at random, but these macros help you organize what to put in the program, so you don't have to sit down and necessarily remember the format perfectly. And you'll notice it looks just like normal G-code, except it's got some little pound signs, some little hashtags in there. Those hashtags tell it that that changes every time. So go ahead and put this one in. So my O register, it's asking for, my tool number, my speed, X and Y location, H1. So it just makes it more convenient to get the feed rate right. If it's easier for you to just type this in, type it in. But that way kind of guides you through putting in the proper information. It also has sequence and resequence. You can say put sequence numbers on the whole thing, and you can just as easily say remove them all from here. Okay, the format of the programs that we're going to get in now to the little calculators in here that can actually generate bits of toolpath for you. The format that they use kind of might be called the post in a full-blown CAD/CAM product is set up over here in NC code setup. It just basically asks you the type of machine, the format of the X, Y's, and Z's, the type of arcs, a few basic G codes. It's just a minimal setup to make sure everything comes out in the basic format your machine needs. Okay. First, I'm going to go through these menus and show all of the individual cycle generators, I guess you would call them, that actually create bits and pieces of an NC program for you, which you can put in this editor and pull together into one program. You can say, what do we got in here? Drilling. Let's start over drilling here. Drilling bolt circles, linear patterns, rectangle, random holes, grid of holes, lathe drilling. I'll just do a quick bolt circle just that everybody does, but just so you see how it works. Say a bolt circle, pulls up a dialog where you said everything you want about the bolt circle. By the way, everything everywhere in Trig-Man that you're entering a number 2 plus 3 30 seconds, you can put in a formula or an equation instead of just a raw number. We say OK. It's now going to ask us about the drill depth and the type of cycle that it is. We say OK. All right, now anytime it has to generate code, it pulls up this same little box here. It shows you the name of the machine you're working with. D-mill is a typical modern Fanuc type mill. You can say view what it's about to do. That shows the bolt circle that it's going to be done. You can print that and say done and start. It created the code for that. I can say copy all and just come down here and paste it in. So you can build up a program this way by using these individual calculators, tools. Let's go into the next area. We had drilling. Ellipse generator will generate a series of linear moves to cut around the inside or the outside of an ellipse that you describe. Gear information. Mill facing. Mill facing will generate a cycle that to face off square or rectangular areas. Not much else to say about it. You fill in all of these in the feeds and the distances and the depths and what have you. And I'm just going to say OK. View it. Gives me that nice zigzag. Done. Say start. And once again, I could paste it in there. I could have put a macro in front of that to call up a tool change, or just typed in the tool change if it's easier for you. What other ones? That was mill facing. There's mill pocketing. That'll do a circular pocket in either concentric circles or spiral, eccentric circles, spiral type pattern. There is also a polygon pocketing, which takes basic shapes like square, rectangles, or in this case, a peaked multiple point pocket like that. The only limitation is they have to be a regular polygon. Okay. And so now we're over to this one. We've got spline cutting. Spline, if you know what a spline is, you take a series of points and it fits a smooth curve through the points. You can describe the points, and then the cutter will say you want the cutter to go to the left of that, right of that, or cut right on it. Again, when it's done, copy it and paste it into the file here. Thread cycle is a new one with the 2018. It generates a G76 style thread cycle. As it sits right now, it has Fanuc double line, single line, Haas single line, Mach 3 single line. That should cover just about any machine. But if you've got another machine that none of those combinations are quite right for, please let us know what you need. We will look at adding it to the product for you. I'm just going to leave it the defaults and say OK, and you can see it generated a nice little G76 cycle for me. Triangle thread, we have thread milling, which will generate all of the linear moves to thread around the inside, an external or an internal thread. Okay, we have finish reference. That's it for the calculators in here. Now let's go to over to geometry here, which is actually what we call minicam. I'll pull it up in a mill mode. Minicam is a mini CAD CAM product, primarily a CAM product. You can import a DXF file into it that you've drawn somewhere else. You can draw simple jobs in here. It has relatively, for a simple product, it has relatively powerful geometry creation capabilities. I just put a point there. Let's draw a box starting off of that point. You give it the size and shape of the box. You can also just form, excuse me, okay, you can do freeform geometry. Let's again put another point up here, and I'm just gonna throw in there. Give me a circle, center point and radius. Make that the point, and radius 0.5 is fine. Just wanna use something. It can do a little bit more sophisticated stuff, such as the tangents and tangents. How about one here, one there? You can do the tangents like that. It's a nice introductory drawing package that can draw some pretty good geometry. Just to review, we've got a bunch of point definitions, a bunch of ways to do lines, circles, draw text or draw a box. We can modify what we've done. Delete it, change the color, erase it, move it, rotate it, scale it, mirror image, trim it if we want to trim it down. If we've got lines and arcs that go too far and we want to trim them down, make them look prettier. Inquire, you can inquire the lengths, distances, angles, like that. And finally, there's the toolpath menu. You can, of course, delete any toolpath you've done. You can say drill selected points and arcs. It's just a nice way to drill any points and arcs that are in front of you. There's a text engraving selection where you can tell it to engrave text along a line or around an arc. It's just a simple stick figure font, nothing fancy. We have products that have very fancy, any font you want if you're looking for them. But this is what Trig-Man does, just one basic font. And what else we have in here? Tool position, start position, next spot. These are all things. The workhorse command of this system would be either doing the cut all, where you're just looking to do something online, just cut the whole thing. It kind of strings it all together as best it can and cuts around it. For normal machining, you can drive the tool from location to location with the tangent to 2. That's pretty much the workhorse command of this guy. You say tangent to 2, bring me up, I want to cut along this until I come to this. And the tool goes on this side. All right, so that put me there. Now I want to cut along this until it comes to there. Put it on that side. It spotted that it was an arc, so it wants to know which way you want to go. I'll go counterclockwise. Then cut along this till you get to this. Tool on the outside. Cut along this till you get to this. On the outside, counterclockwise. So it's a way that you can drive the tool around any combination of lines and arcs that you want to. I think that's the bulk of that. I'm going to exit. No. Okay. Next, we're going to cover the calculators, the individual calculators in Trig-Man, which are useful in both manual machining and CNC machining. They solve a lot of common little situations that all shops faced, that you might normally have to go run and look in the book for just how to do the calculation. And this does them for you. Let's start with some of the simple ones. I'm not going to harp on any of them, just going to go through them, give you a quick idea what they do. Angle conversions, you can tell it whatever you know about the minutes. It's 15 minutes. It gives you the angle in decimal and in radians, and it tells you all about the angle. It allows you to convert angles back and forth. Bar stock count. This is new in 2018. You give it the length of the bar stock that you have, how much you have to hold it on, the length of the part, how much stock you want on the face, the width of the cutoff tool. You get 37 parts out of that bar. Calculator, 2 plus 2. Calculate. Oh, it can handle that. Cancel. Center drill depth calculator. So here you say I want the hole or the top of the chamfer here to be a 1/2 inch. So if that's a 1/2 inch, it's going to pick for you that the center drills, the standard center drills that you can use are a number 6, 7, or 8. So you pick which one you want. You say calculate, and it tells you got to bring a number 8 drill down to that Z, down to that depth to get that size, the 1/2 inch hole on the top. Again, every one of these calculators, when you press OK, it delivers the results into the results window here, where you can print it, you can copy it and paste it into something else, or just cancel, just throw it away. Okay. We did center drill. There's the chamfer depth. You give it the included angle, the diameter that you want to achieve on there, and it tells you how far to bring it down. Kind of a cousin to the center drill. Circular cord. You tell it which ones you know. Radius R is 3 inches, and the height H is 0.75. Calculate. It calculates the rest of the sizes for you. Okay, circular cord, countersink geometry. This one gives you a way of measuring the countersink. If you put in a certain size ball and measure how high that ball comes up from the protrudes up from the surface, it'll tell you what the diameter of the countersink is. And conversions. Oh, I hit the wrong one. And conversions. Okay, just simple 2 inches. Make this. There's about a dozen conversions in there. I've seen converters online that can do hundreds of different conversions, but this gives you the basic ones you might need. Okay, cusp height and step over. So now you know, given this radius on the ball end mill here, you can see how high the cusps are going to be if for a given step over. And okay, dovetail measurement. It can handle male or female dovetails. You select which one you want, put in the ones that you know. It calculates the unknown dimensions for you. Drill depth. This one is for actually calculating a through depth. In other words, a depth to get through the specified depth. If you want it 1 inch deep, it's going to have to go 1.15 in order to compensate for the tip. Cancel. Okay, ellipse generator we talked about. Gauge block stacker. This one you take and you put in the total desired height, in other words, how high you're looking to get it. You hit calc, and it picks out blocks from you from a standard 81 block set. It shows you the remainder there, just to number one, if you're asking for something that's basically too tall to get out of a basic set, or if there's some kind of a mismatch or maybe even internal error. I don't know. It shows you the remainder just so you can double check that the total is good. Gear information. You give it some basic facts on a gear, and it comes back with a bunch of other information on the gear. And mill facing and mill pocketing we did with the turning. Okay, polygons. Here you can say different basic shapes: square, octagon, hexagon. Specify the diameter or the distance across the flats. It'll calculate the opposite one. Speed and feed calculator. This one you select a mill or turning mode, and you put in information about what you're doing: the diameter tool, teeth, chip load, feet per minute, inches per minute, and it basically calculates all the unknown ones. Each time you change one of the, like if you were to change the chip load per tooth to 5, when you press tab or move into the next field, it changes all of the remaining information. It'll also now do, this is new in the 2018, it'll do an adjusted IPM for a chip load. It'll adjust the chip load for the radial depth of cut and give you an adjusted inches per minute. Okay. Feed calculator, speed and feed database. This is a user database. This is not a database that's already pre-filled with thousands of different tools and materials. It is a place for you to keep what's been good and what's worked for you. If you use a certain type of aluminum all the time and do different operations on it, you just add them in here. One at a time, you add in a new record into the database. You can calculate, once you've got a number in there for a speed and feed, It'll calculate the speed and feed. You can override the speed and feed and calculate it again. It's really a user database. All right, let's say cancel. Sign bar, good old-fashioned sign bar. You tell it, again, whichever one you know, it'll fill in the other. If it was a 6-inch bar, then for the 30 degrees, you'd have to be up 3 inches. Thread information. Thread information is an old standby at Trig-Man, been here a long time. Has a whole bunch, I don't know, about a dozen different types of threads in there. And you select the type of thread, the class, give it all the basic information. You can even calculate the proper wire size for what you're doing. Say OK, and it gives you back a whole bunch of information on the thread. The class, pitch diameters. Okay. Thread information, triangle solver. Okay, everyone and their brother has a triangle solver in their software. Only difference is most of those are limited to right triangles. This is not. You just simply need to give it any 3 knowns. You can give it 1 side and 2 angles, 2 sides and 1 angle, any combination of 3, and you got to know at least 1 side and at least 1 angle. From there, it'll give you all of the rest. Oh, yeah. All right. I'll do about a 3-4-5, a well-known triangle. From that, it gives you back the sides, the angles in degrees, minutes, seconds, and a bunch of other information on the triangle. Okay. 3-point circle. You give it the XY locations of 3 points. It'll come back with those points, the center of the circle, the radius, area, and perimeter. True position calculator, X difference, Y difference. It gives you the true position tolerance. Okay. Turning finishing calculator. Similar to the mill step over. Here you tell it the inches per rev, the tool radius, and it'll tell you what you're getting in micro inches and the cusp height. Reference info. Reference info is a series of charts and information. These are the standard ones that come with it. Codes, geometric tolerances, letter drills, all kinds of standard reference materials. You can actually easily add to this yourself. You just simply make it in any a well-known word processor or even the WordPad that comes with all Windows computers. Save it as that RTF type file and just put it in the folder where Trig-Man is. It shows up as a chart here for you to look at. Okay, finally, XY polar calculations. It calculates a conversion between X and Y straight rectangular coordinates and polar coordinates. So if you do, okay, I believe that's that. And finally, we'll go through the desk manager or the non-NC and machining related parts of Trig-Man. Most all of these can be found in all kinds of utilities and on your phone and everywhere else these days. We keep it here for people who've used it in the past or perhaps just would rather have it just here and related to their work. Deskman is a PIM, a personal information manager. Which has a calendar and a contacts and tasks. It is also has similar real old utilities that we've had in here forever. A simple address book and appointment book, to-do list. And then there's the spreadsheet, which is nowhere near as powerful as your typical Excel or other spreadsheets, but we preload it with a couple of good templates that are useful in the shop, from things to help you with job costing or inspection, X-bar R charts for inspection, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time. Any questions, please contact us.